Hey guys, I'm Matt in the Hat, and today I'm here with
Sammy the Flower Prince.
And today we are going to be talking about something rather interesting. Essentially, how we see our own bodies based on gender and what society tells us we need to be. So, firstly, what I consider to be foremost, I am male, I use he and him.
I am gender void, is what I go by officially, and I use they, them.
So yeah, respect please, thanks.
Call me a girl and I will not be happy.
Yeah, same here. And before you argue that they and them are not okay pronouns,
Why don't you just scream instead, because they're about the same value.
let me just say that Shakespeare, since the time of Shakespeare, they've been using they and them to refer to a singular person, so don't even try that argument. Anyway, so first of all, let's talk about masculinity and femininity.
We've got two really good examples right here. Masculine, feminine.
Except, it's not that clear cut.
Yeah.
So masculinity, at its center, is supposed to be sort of strength and confidence and power, because that's what was considered male by gender constructs of the olden days. And femininity was sort of the opposite of that, more shy and reserved and quiet. And then it became, it evolved into masculinity was you did certain things, like you used the grill and you dressed a certain way and you hung out with the guys and you didn't like fashion or dolls or anything like that because that was feminine and vice versa. And it's constantly evolving. That's why pink is now a feminine color where blue is masculine, because, hey, before Hitler it was the opposite. And then Hitler said pink on boys meant homosexuality, and then everyone decided that
That was the worst thing to be.
They hated homosexuality more than they hated Hitler, which is kind of hurtful. Anyway, moving on. So, how does that affect the way you dress yourself?
It doesn't affect me very much. Well, it kind of did, because for a long time I didn't think I was a girl, so all of my clothes that I still have are very feminine. But honestly, to this day, it doesn't affect me very much in those terms. I still dress very feminine. You've seen it. I dress in skirts all the time. And in socks that have a large amount of pink on them right now, just because I kind of like it. So it doesn't affect me very much, but it can sometimes.
For me, for a while I dressed really femininely because that's what I thought would get my mother's acceptance and love, and, oh wow, that got dark. Anyway, and then I kind of was like, nah, I don't really like this, so then I started wearing more t-shirts and jeans, and I was like, yeah, I like this. I kind of went for the emo kid obsessed with Tumblr look. I still am a little bit affected by that. Hi. And then it kind of became, I'm going to throw away everything that I have that's remotely feminine because no thanks.
If I did that, I would have zero clothing left. I
Well,
would have
see,
that pair of jeans that you've seen
went-
that comes here, and then this shirt.
I went to Savers and places like that that had cheap clothing and just got a whole bunch of masculine things. It took me a while. I didn't do it all at once, but that's...
Yeah.
It became a sort of, if I wear something effeminate, I feel horrible. And so, I moved on. So, with that being said, feeling horrible, that would be called dysphoria, for those of you who don't know. Basically, more specifically, gender dysphoria, which is feeling bad about your body or the way you look, or just about yourself in general, based on what your gender is versus what maybe people see you as or what you've been taught to be. So, how does that affect you, dysphoria?
I have it a lot. This is gonna get really dark and sad, but it's almost like second nature to me now. I'm sorry, that sounded really, really bad. But it's just I have really good days where I'm like, heck yeah, I'm a boy in a skirt type
reason I don't have mirrors in this room.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm really happy without my mirror in my room. It's just small things like that that really get me, that really go, that's a symptom of my dysphoria, where I didn't really notice it before. I was just like, oh no, everybody does that, or I just didn't notice it at all.
Are there certain things that give you more dysphoria than others?
Yeah, definitely. My own likes don't tend to do it because I know that my clothing doesn't really signify my own gender a lot.
Yeah, interests have nothing to do with gender. You can be a boy who likes dolls, you can be a boy who likes pink, you could be a girl who likes G.I. Joes and doesn't ever wear a dress, ever.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't specifically mean...
It has nothing to do... They're over here. They don't touch.
I think some things that sort of my dysphoria, probably being called a girl a lot does, because there are days where nobody really goes, hey girl, and it's really good, and then there are days where everybody's just dead set and calling you hey girl, and it's like, why? And then other things, my mother insists on taking me bra shopping, like every week, and I'm like, but why?
Why do you need so many?
I don't, and I never get any, but she's still like, oh, let's go in the lingerie section, and I'm like, but why?
Okay, I don't really go shopping very much. When we go out to buy things, it's usually food. But that says a lot about my family's priorities.
See, I go shopping like every week. I do all of the shopping. My mother still calls me maternal, even though I've come out 3 times.
Oh.
So she's like, oh no, you need to learn how to cook. And
yeah, there are times my dad still calls me like a stereotypical white girl. It's like, hi. No.
So yeah, those are the things that really set off my dysphoria when people call me a girl and they go out of their way, like it didn't normally fit in that sentence. They were just like, oh hey, girl.
I'm just gonna assert your femininity that you don't necessarily have. Fun fact, I had to come up to my dad like 3 times because he kept forgetting, and I'm not sure if that's he actually forgot or if he just was like in denial.
My mom has not forgotten that I haven't come up to my dad yet, because he's on my grandmother, and I like living in places. But I came out to my mom several times, because at first I was like, I'm not really sure if I'm a girl, and she was like, no, you're just going through a phase. My mother was one of those, like, you're just going through a phase. It's like, but mom, please. So there was that, yeah, it was about 3 times, and I probably have to do it again when we move.
Yikes. Okay, so then what can you do to make dysphoria better?
I think a lot of it is talking to my friends. When I talk to you, I will make a point of calling you handsome, especially. I make a point of calling Kaz handsome. Because I know along my friends who know especially, they're like, oh, I'm not a girl, so they don't call me anything like that, and they don't refer to me as something like that. So I think that's a big help. And just knowing inside, I know a lot of that is hard, especially if you're newer to this. You're like, oh, I'm still very new to being trans. I think the older you get into it, the better it becomes in different ways. So there's that.
I was just thinking in the shower today, because, like, I have men's body wash. Men's. And, like, on the one hand, hypermasculinity like that is toxic. It really is. But I'm kind of almost reclaiming it as a good thing because it helps my dysphoria. Of, like, I am using men's stuff. Because I am a man. Well, I'm a boy because I'm not an adult, but semantics. So, what can, say, these viewers do to help anyone with dysphoria?
Definitely, like you said, buying things that align with your gender if you are strictly male to female or female to male. Talking to your friends that you've come out to, if you have, or, just start working on, can I talk to certain things, because your friends are really good in times like these, because they're not as scared to come out to as your family.
Sometimes for me, like, okay, it's kind of a double-edged sword because sometimes it's really good for my dysphoria and sometimes it's really bad. But, like, looking back at old pictures and seeing how far I've come, sometimes it's like, ugh, that was me. And sometimes it's like, that was me, not me anymore. So, it depends on the person. And if you are not, if you are cisgender and you just have friends, or, hey, you know us, use the right pronouns. If you don't know what their pronouns are, ask them, because you will never, like, the only people who are going to be offended by you asking are cis people who are highly uneducated, and to be fair, I don't really care if they get offended. Just ask. Just ask their pronouns, because they will always thank you for it. Because they would rather you use the right pronouns than use the wrong ones.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing to ask someone's pronouns. I've had people, ask me once and then ask me again just because they want to be sure.
The one thing that's really annoying is, for a long time, I used to get, like, people just, like, I used to teach at my synagogue, and I'd have little kids, like, during the service, not even on free time, during the service, when they're supposed to be, like, singing or praying or listening, whatever, going, is that a boy or a girl? Is that a boy or a girl? And it's like, okay, one, those aren't the only options, and two, this is really not the time and place, and three, why are you asking each other? Ask me. I'm the one who knows.
And I don't know, it's just, for my dysphoria, a big part of it was until I dyed my hair pink. My hair, because I know that not everybody can do this, some parents just freak out about it, and I'm like, why? But dyeing your hair a certain color, you don't have to go as far as, like, cutting it all off like I did. Like, my hair
Or like I
used
did.
to be here.
My hair used to be here.
Like, I had hair this long, and then I was like, I want it all gone, so I just went.
My family was not cool with that, but I basically just used my own stubbornness and I out-stubborned my own father.
Spite is a big thing. Just, I don't even want this as bad as I used to, but they keep telling me no. And so, I don't know, what else helps my dysphoria? It's harder because I think, for me, it seems like it's easier if you're male to female or female to male. Because things say male, women,
I
men's.
totally agree with that. It is so much easier, because
There's no person's body wash.
society is so binary nowadays, at least in Western culture. In other cultures, they have very different viewpoints on gender, but the main, like, white people mainstream culture is that there's male and there's female and there's nothing else.
And I have dual citizenship, and every place I go is very dependent on the gender binary. Like, Canada, I think, is the loosest.
Yeah, I agree.
Because in Canada, people tend to be in bigger clothes anyway and tend to be very layered up because it is
Very
20 degrees in the middle of July.
in Fahrenheit, shall I say.
Fahrenheit. And I don't know what that is in Celsius because math.
That would be below zero.
Yeah. So it's very cold there, but then I also come from a place called France where there are still dukes and duchesses.
And French is very gendered.
Oh god,
yeah.
it's like as bad as Spanish.
See, Japanese is very not gendered,
Yeah.
for the most part. Like, there are a few things that are gendered, but
I think, that's
in general.
I think one of the bigger thing, well, not bigger, it's just another aid, is looking at the stories of people who did transition
What you can
successfully. Yeah, just looking, hey, today was a bad day. And that's all it was. It was just a bad day. But you will have good days and good weeks and good months, and then you'll start
Hey,
transitioning.
the future, it's bright. You just gotta get yourself there. So, hold on tight, because eventually,
It's a hell of a ride, but
yeah, once you get off, then you can go eat ice cream, and hopefully not barf. That analogy kind of went from, like, here to here.
you had one job.
Anyway,
This is why we can't have nice things.
so yeah, I think that's all for today. So, thank you for appearing on my channel, and
It's a
hopefully,
pleasure.
hopefully another time.
Yeah.
Assuming we don't do another one of what you just did on this one's channel,
Oh
you
God,
can check it out.
Me. You should totally check
I'll
it
put
out.
the link in the description to Sam's channel, and I was in a video there that I probably should have just said no to, but that's theoretically very amusing to some people.
Oh, it's hilarious. If you
So-
like him at all, go watch it.
Who likes me?
Brilliant people. I like you. You're decent.
Thanks. This is how you show your affection. Anyway, so, I'll see you guys next time. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, whatever, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.